Nowadays, there are tons of cryptocurrencies designed for all sorts of possibilities. From decentralizing the worldwide financial system to simply going to the moon. Wow.
To the moon!
Sure, you've heard of Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, USDT, Polkadot, Engine, Zcash, Litecoin, Clover, Shiba Inu, Gala, Binance Coin, Nero, USD Coin, Avalanche, XRP, Terra, Polygon, Crypto.com Coin, Algorand, Stellar, Elrond, Decentraland, Filecoin, Hedera, Phantom, Cosmos, Tezos, Theta, Squid Game Coins, which I wish I hadn't heard of that one, Baby Doge, Stacks, Voro, Theta Celsius, Raven Network, PSG Coin, and Wax. I mean, who hasn't heard of all those? But have you ever thought to use one of these to build a utopia? Not to mention one near a volcano? Today, we discuss. Hey everyone, I'm Brandon, the futuristic utopian. In late 2021, the president of El Salvador, Najib Bukele, look, I see how it's spelled, but I actually Googled this and apparently that's how you say it, announced via an event that looked like a cross between a megachurch and a Kool-Aid drinking company retreat. That his company would build Bitcoin City.
What I was going to present to you, Bitcoin City.
Bukele took over as president of El Salvador in 2019, and since then has been an outspoken supporter of Bitcoin. He's referred to the currency as the future. And even gone as far as letting his government tweet openly about how many coins it currently owns. El Salvador itself has even gone as far as accepting Bitcoin as legal tender.
El Salvador has become the first country to accept Bitcoin as a national currency.
And in an unprecedented move, at the Bitcoin 2021 conference in Miami, Bukele went as far as announcing the Bitcoin law. And within a week of the conference, El Salvador had passed it with a supermajority of votes. This law required all businesses to accept Bitcoin as a form of payment alongside the US dollar. It should be noted that it was also met with its fair share of criticism, which may or may not have come as a surprise to the president.
After that, we had some attacks of the opposition. Believe it or not, we have an opposition. And they started, complaining about Bitcoin, and they started with the misinformation to the people, telling them Bitcoin was bad, and, you shouldn't use that currency because, it's invisible. You cannot see it.
Now, the idea of a crypto utopia isn't necessarily new in the world. Heck, it isn't even new in El Salvador. So in order to understand Bitcoin City, we first have to look at Bitcoin Beach. Imagine it's 2019. Notre Dame caught fire.
Vicious flames engulfed the 850-year-old masterpiece of Gothic architecture.
People were caught cheating in order to get into college. Only this time, people actually cared about it instead of brushing it off like every other year.
Operation Varsity Blues, an investigation into the biggest college cheating scam ever prosecuted.
The U.S. women's soccer team won the World Cup.
The United States of America are crowned champions of the world.
But to be fair, they've won it like 4 times, so that doesn't really help narrow it down to 2019. Oh, and people outside of Europe were actually still talking about Brexit. But in addition to all of these, a small, relatively, experiment was beginning. In coastal villages throughout El Salvador, Bitcoin was being used as a medium of exchange to fund a number of initiatives from tourism to small business payments and worker stipends. It began as a challenge to the assumption at the time, and to some extent today, that Bitcoin would never be used for daily transactions, such as buying a cup of coffee, or that Bitcoin would only be used by the wealthy and economically elite. So far, it's been broken down into 3 phases. Phase 1 was designed to get Bitcoin into the local community while making sure local businesses begin accepting it as payment. This was done through Bitcoin stipends for university students. youth work programs being paid in Bitcoin for cleaning local beaches and rivers, and going around to businesses and teaching them how to accept Bitcoin. Phase 2 was to ramp up the user base to at least 600 families with an active wallet and weekly usage. The focus was to show the advantages of receiving funds via Bitcoin transactions versus the, quote, expensive and inconvenient services like Western Union. Phase 3 is all about the growth of well-paying jobs, which are a direct response to increased Bitcoin tourism and technological development. While the immediate focus is on driving Bitcoin tourism, the long-term goal is to attract Bitcoin enthusiasts to permanently call Bitcoin Beach home. Bitcoin Beach is still in active development as of the making of this video, but quite literally it walked so Bitcoin City could run. So back to that Bitcoin City event. How exactly is it different from Bitcoin Beach? How does it extend the reach of cryptocurrency, and how exactly is it going to be a utopia? Well, it's got a volcano for one thing. But seriously, here's what we know about Bitcoin City so far. A $1 billion Bitcoin bond offering, which is set to take place in 2022, will be used to pay to jumpstart the city.
Issuing Bitcoin bonds. Do you guys like Bitcoin bonds?
$500 million will be used to buy Bitcoin, and $500 million used to buy land and finance a conjoined geothermal Bitcoin mining facility and power station at a volcano. No, trust me, the volcano is a big deal.
Half of the $1 billion will go into buying Bitcoin. So the president is going to market buy $500 million of Bitcoin.
That also.
Yeah. The other half will go towards infrastructure, specifically building energy infrastructure and Bitcoin mining. So this is why it's going to be called the volcano bond. Do you guys like Bitcoin bonds?
And El Salvador is already showing proof of concept at the Tecapa volcano, which, as of the time of this writing, has approximately 300 computers mining Bitcoin. But anyway, back to the financing. How to pay back the bonds.
Do you guys like Bitcoin bonds?
Well, Bukele said there would be no property, income, or municipal taxes, and the city would have zero carbon dioxide emissions. Bitcoin City will instead generate revenue through a value-added tax, and use this to pay off the bond as well as build other infrastructure.
And these bonds are amazing.
And just in case anybody has any worries about getting their money back from these bonds or from this project in general, well, I'll just let Bukele tell you why you shouldn't be worried. Well, that seems easy enough. Bukele then goes on to compare his Bitcoin cities to the Alexandrias that were built when Alexander the Great was conquering the world.
You know, when Alexander the Great was conquering the world, they established these Alexandrias. And the idea was these Alexandrias not to cover the territory, which was immense, and the Alexandrias were actually very small. But the idea behind it was to these Alexandrias be like the beacons of hope for the rest of the world.
In all fairness, it is a weird choice of words, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he is truly looking to build something in this world that is, in his words, the beacon of hope for the rest of the world. And guys, that's why we're talking about it. As it's currently built, Bitcoin City is actually gonna have everything.
And it's going to include everything: residential areas, commercial areas, services, museums, entertainment, bars, restaurants, airport, port, rail, everything devoted to Bitcoin.
And remember, all of this is powered by that notorious volcano.
The volcano will, you know how it works. It powers the hot water steam that powers a turbine, that powers an energy generator, and then we have electricity, crypto mining, warehousing, tourism, entertainment, and culture and sports. Everything clean and coming from the volcano.
But what about the design? What does it look like? Well, it seems the Salvadoran president has actually been watching the futuristic Utopian, because it actually has a design that fundamentally is pretty similar to the original radial blueprints for what Epcot was supposed to be. Shameless plug, you already knew it was coming. That's right, Bitcoin City has a circular design with a centralized plaza which, from an aerial view, will look like the Bitcoin logo. The government will provide the land and the infrastructure. The hope being that the economic area will attract investors who will continue to develop and construct the city. The city is meant to be built on a digital infrastructure, which will provide equal access to technology and education for all. But that doesn't mean it's going to exist solely on the metaverse. Shout out Zuck!
Today, we're going to talk about the metaverse.
There are designated residential areas, green spaces, industrial and office areas, as well as social amenities, each having a unique purpose for appearing in Bitcoin City, yet seemingly more intertwined with one another than in previous utopias we've looked at. They all seem to coexist rather than have their own cordon footprint. Bukele then goes on to explain that since Bitcoin City is in El Salvador, Bitcoin will be used as legal tender. But if that isn't exciting enough for you,
That works and it's energized by a volcano.
suffice to say, Bukele and the team around Bitcoin City are very confident in its success and Bitcoin's future outlook.
We are here to change the world. We are here in El Salvador to change the world. And we are ready to die on this hill. All of us are ready to die on this hill. Bitcoin is going to save the world, and it starts here in El Salvador.
Will it work? I don't know. But a lot of people don't think so. Whether it does or doesn't isn't the point, though. The point is, someone today is attempting to build a utopia. They are trying to change the world, and they are trying to push society forward to a place it hasn't been yet. The goal of this channel has always been to study attempts at utopia, to learn from them in order to help create a better tomorrow. So like I said, I don't know if Bitcoin City is going to pan out. But at the very least, I hope it creates a society that's better than the one that we have today. And that's Bitcoin City, everyone.
So that's Bitcoin City, everybody.
Where digitalization and reality are fusing. If you like this video, then please leave a like and also subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest Utopia news. Don't forget to follow us on social media. And guys, my question for you today is Bitcoin City viable? Let me know in the comment section down below. And until next time, always remember that the future is out there.